I'd like to bring up another issue. I was reading in this book entitled Traffic by Tom Vanderbilt about induced travel. And in this he said that transportation studies are now showing that you can't build your way out of traffic congestion, that actually when you build more roads, you actually increase traffic.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is that people then find that it's more convenient to get into their cars and they start driving more. And
Right.
there have been studies that have shown that this is the case. So I have questions to those people who say that there's too much traffic congestion in Charlottesville and we need this road. But actually, the VDOT people have even said in court under oath that after 2 years, the traffic flow on Park Street will actually resume to its current level after the Meadow Creek Parkway has been built through McIntire Park.
Yeah, I have never seen a new road or a new highway built that doesn't attract more traffic. The selling point for new roads and new highways, I think, has always been we will reduce congestion. It never has. It just makes congestion worse. Now, the Meadow Creek Parkway we're trying to sort of cover for the county. We were talking in the community, we had a western bypass and an eastern connector, which is basically an eastern bypass as well. So we would funnel all the traffic around the city and then we'd come in from different directions. Well, the county has walked away from their responsibility and it's sort of the city that has to pick up the tab. And the cost is the loss of McIntire Park, a big part of McIntire Park.
And quite a few city funds which are required to match the federal grant for the interchange and even the state-funded parkway. And the state-funded parkway that runs through the city would take our Charlottesville's urban allocation, which could be spent on transit instead as well. So we're talking about millions of dollars that could be redirected if this project is not built.
What are some of the alternatives to building this road?
I think in general, shifting our transportation policy from road building to walking, biking, and transit is the way to go. And that way, you're actually helping take people off the roads so people who do need to drive have more space to drive. And at the same time, instead of fostering sprawl or auto-centric development, we are encouraging walkable, transit-friendly development. And right now, as a country, we use twice as much energy as Europe per capita. And I think making that shift would go a long way in reducing our carbon footprint and our energy dependence.
It would also improve the health of American citizens.
Oh, absolutely.
Get out there and walk and bicycle more.
Yeah.
That would be terrific.
To my way of thinking, John, one of the biggest complaints people have over the years has been congestion. We can see it now on Pantops. Traffic routinely backs up in the morning and sometimes in the afternoon, any day of the week, from Free Bridge, which is down at Lower Pantops, back to under 64 and back to Lux Stone. I mean, that is congestion that this Meadow Creek Parkway will do nothing to address. We also have 29. We have traffic bumper to bumper going north on rush hour in the evening up to Greene County. So if we're going to talk about roads, we ought to talk about roads further out to lessen the impact of the congestion in town, particularly when the trade-off is one of the best open-air parks and urban forest, as the city advertises it, that we will lose.
I think a key idea would be to use 250 as a route for express buses to take people between downtown and 29 North and Pantops. Right now, if you want to take a bus from downtown all the way up 29 North, it takes a long time, maybe an hour and a half or something. We need some kind of transit where someone can get on a bus downtown and it'll take you right to Seminole Square. And then from there could be another bus that you could go between the various shopping centers on 29 North. And if we don't do that, if we build this road instead and dump all that traffic on 250, Already there have been calls from the county to widen 250 through the city and to widen the parkway to 4 lanes if it's built. And we would never hear the end of that if this road gets built.
So how will we save McIntire Park?
Well, I'd say citizen participation, John. We have the Coalition to Preserve McIntire Park has forums that we hold. We have fundraisers. We have events in the park that we hold, that we have held and will continue to hold. And we're getting into warm weather now, so we'll have more outdoor events scheduled as well. But the key is citizen involvement. If the city officials see that the citizens, once again, do not want to stand for this road going through the park, then I think we're going to get some action, and I hope we get some action in that regard. It is not a lost cause. We think it's something that has value to it to save the park and to use the portion that's already been built to encourage pedestrian and bicycle traffic into the city.
City Council is really the most important group here for citizens to contact. They can write all the city councilors at Charlottesville, council@charlottesville.org, and a very simple message, just no parkway, yes transit, is worth quite a bit. And I also wanted to say that it's important, I think, for citizens to get familiar with some of the recent history and deception that has gone on over this project. That falsehood that I mentioned, that Charlottesville has approved the at-grade parkway, there's been a lot of consternation over VDOT telling the Corps of Engineers that that's in fact the road that it would build. The parkway without an interchange. It would completely wreck 250. Initially, VDOT told the Corps of Engineers that it wanted to build a road that would end in the middle of a park where the interchange would pick up. But the Corps of Engineers said, well, this road that you want to build, the state project just ends in a field. We need a logical terminus. But VDOT didn't want to show this road connecting to the federal project, which would mean that they'd have to apply those federal laws to the whole project. So then they told the Corps that they would build this at-grade road, and they actually got a letter from city staff that said, if the interchange isn't built, then Charlottesville City Council will approve the at-grade road, but there was no justification for that whatsoever. Charlottesville City Council corrected that, and that's where we're at now. And people can find that whole story on Charlottesville Tomorrow, which is a local website, if they just search for VDOT.
And I believe the City Council has recently indicated that they do not want construction of any road to begin in the park until all of the approvals have been received for the interchange.
That's true, and I think that's a very wise position. Why would you start a part of a road until you know that the whole thing is up to snuff,
right,
legally?
Well, I'd like to close with a quote from one of my favorite books, Last Child in the Woods by Richard Louv. In this, he talks about the importance of urban parks. He writes that urban children and many suburban children have long been isolated from the natural world because of a lack of neighborhood parks or a lack of opportunity, a lack of time and money for parents who might otherwise take them out of the city. And in this book, the author talks about how important it is for children particularly to grow up with nature, and how that so many of the health problems and emotional problems that children are experiencing today are because of nature deprivation, that they're just not spending enough time out in the woods, in the grass, by the streams, and really having a chance to be cleansed by the natural world.
Yeah, do we have another couple seconds?
I think our time is up.
Okay.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us today, learning more about McIntire Park and the importance of saving it. We appreciate it. Thank you for being here for All Things Green.